Hey folks, this is a little extra episode of Cracks the Cement. I'm Ronan, your host. This episode is a little different than the typical ones because, well, it's basically a, hmm, what is this? It is in response to myself in previous podcasts where I use the term woo. And so I realized, so I'm going through actually, I just started a spiritual apprenticeship with this incredible healer, teacher, priestess, amazing human being. Um, and she brought to my attention, she pointed out, and I was like, my gosh, you are so right, is that when I use the term woo, it's coming from a place of like I'm feeling uncomfortable, maybe worried about what people think about me, afraid that if I come out or speak too freely about other dimensions, other frequencies, the spirit realm, whatever, that if I anything else I talk about will get discounted. And I want to talk about why actually it's literally I've kind of dabbled, I've mentioned it, I've kind of danced around it. People who know me know what I'm talking about, but I want to be really forthcoming from here on out that how I got here and where I'm at and where I'm going. So, and the word woo is like we're kind of talking about, and I can't remember exactly what was said, but basically it seems like it's coming from maybe like it's not scientific, it's silly, it's fake, it's a scam, I don't know, it's superficial, and all it can be, right? Like anything else, because coming from the science world, hello, a lot of shit is made up there, a lot of numbers get massaged to get the grant money or to get people to vote a certain way, or yada yada, whatever, not believe in climate change. So I've come to understand that there are, like, if you think about quantum physics, that is scientific, and that a lot of the things that quantum physics dabbles in is and which connecting that to the spirit realm or the other dimensions or other vibrations is super scientific. And when I first started doing this work, as far as doing anti-racism work, dismantling white supremacy, DEI type work, I came in being very locked in my head, coming from the science world, feeling very cut off from my body, loving to be connected in nature, like loving playing in nature. And I'd say getting hints that I'm connected to Gaia as a being. But I think I just kind of kept pushing it away because there's this kind of maybe this fear that if we go, dabble or like start to open our minds up to that what if we start believing in conspiracy theories, or who knows what'll happen, which once again this keeps coming back again to trust in ourselves, like authentic, true, humble, slow moving trust in ourselves, and that is an iterative process, and we slowly learn to trust ourselves, and we work on healing our wounds and make sure what we're doing is coming out of a place of the good of all, not because we're scratching some trauma itch. And so when I first started doing that work, I was very in my head, just tell me what to do, where's the list? And then I slowly started to realize, thanks to like my buddy Drea, who I used to do this work with, she was the one that really showed me or taught me that she learned from other teachers. These are truths that are out there. She taught me that untended wounds get weaponized when we have access to power. Not always, but or they can be, right? Untended wounds can be weaponized. And we were working with white folks, And so whiteness can be weaponized because there comes social capital, social power with that. So that was kind of like my first step. And then she was the one who, the very first thing she sent me that wasn't like academic or like Adrienne Marie Brown, who's totally awesome. And by the way, is spiritual if you follow Adrienne Marie Brown. But Drea, my buddy Drea, sent me a interview with a Black woman who works with white therapists. So her April Harder is the Black woman who was doing the interview, and April Harder is a therapist and works with white therapists to help them be less racist with their clients of color. So it was this interesting interview, but then April Harder starts talking about how she's really into astrology. And I was kind of like, oh, this person with, the letters after her name is into astrology. And that kind of like felt like it gave me permission to just kind of dabble and kind of look at that. And I thought that was interesting, and noticing there were patterns of how I was feeling with astrological stuff. And then it just kind of started I started opening up more into realizing that what white supremacy colonization did to most of us is took spirituality, packaged it, put it into this like messed up human power over oppression tool oftentimes, and disconnected us from our own trust in ourselves, our own connection, disconnected us, our connection from Gaia, disconnected us from God consciousness, the all-knowing, disconnected us from maybe things that we saw when we were kids, like a dragon or an imaginary friend or something, or grandma talks to me who's passed, these things that we used to be closer to the other side. Here's another thing is I got really into listening to near-death experiences. And I read up on near-death experiences and how when people are literally clinically dead, their brains are not working, that they're able to see their loved ones in a different room. They go to these different realities, different realms, and there are similar patterns to what people see when that happens. And they're clinically dead. And there's lots of research that shows that consciousness is not just in our brain. And so that really helped. And then I had a good friend who had a near-death experience. He had a near-death experience. I knew him before he had that experience. And then I knew him after that, he was able to become a psychic medium and able to confirm things that nobody would know, like it's just confirmed and confirmed and confirmed. And so this is somebody I know and I trust, and there's lots of evidence. And so these things kind of built my trust with tapping more into myself and listening more to myself. And when you think about white supremacy, it's like, and any system of oppression, right? We're just working with white supremacy. That's the one that we're in, and the one that is most global. When we're working with that, it's like I think of it as like following the root, like when you're pulling out weeds or whatever. If you just memorize lists, what to do and what not to do, that's impossible to stop that weed from growing. That's just tearing off some leaves. And then you go a little deeper, healing your wounds, because wounds are going to get tapped in or get mixed in with, for a lot of us, wherever there's access to power. Okay, but then you got to go a little bit deeper, because the disconnect from Gaia, the disconnect from each other, the belief, this very limiting belief that not understanding the ways in which we're connected, the way we can heal generate or like layers, like ancestral lines. It's energetic. like that which we contribute to the collective. And if we don't pay attention to that, culture is not going to change, people. It is not going to change. And so one of the messages I've been getting is I need to trust my intuition more, because everything gets taken from us for the most part, and we have to claim it all back. We have to get back our connection to Gaia, to the earth, to the ancestors of the land. We have to reconnect with our bodies. We need to reclaim our own bodies. We need to reclaim a belief and a trust in ourselves with humility and moving slowly and with the good of all in mind, is how I choose to live. But that's my choice. I have autonomy. We're all sovereign beings. And so in getting those repetitive messages to follow my intuition, and then this incredible human, this my spiritual apprenticeship guide just kind of started nudging me a little bit. Like, do you want to try doing a healing session with me on my knee? Do you want to just play with that? And she's been teaching what she does, some of the stuff that she does in her healings. And so I'm plugging into that more and more. And I've just been like, how does this fit into Apokalypsis? You know, Apokalypsis, culture change, research and facilitation. So, you know, trying to be edgy, well, not trying to be, communicating our that we want to break this stuff down, that we want to create something new with the professionalism of research and facilitation. Where does healing fit in with that? And talking it through with my spiritual guide, my teacher friend, we can't separate the healing piece. The healing has to be there. And white supremacy culture has created has created wounded people. Most of us are just walking wounds who are so underdeveloped and immature because we've just not had the guidance. We don't know, we haven't been taught how to be balanced, mature, respectful, humble, messy humans without shame in that, you know? And so the antidote to white supremacy culture is from separation to connection, from, you know, hierarchy to ecology, from, you know, being afraid to acknowledge or to admit to our connections to the spirit realm. We need to not be afraid to step into that, and to be, as we go through this really hard human stuff, these beacons of light for each other. And so I don't know if I'll be able to do it with Apokalypsis. I'll have to talk about it with the board and my advisory team. But the work that I'm going to be stepping more and more into is going to involve healing work. And so how can I talked about in the last podcast, the white supremacy. I keep getting these, sorry, I've got like a tickly nose today. White supremacy is this pattern that's like, that expects people and everything to have to fit into that, like these keys, it has to fit into that. So that's this pattern. So what are we weaving? You know, what's the new pattern that incorporates Gaia, that incorporates unconditional love, forgiveness, patience for each other? And that means being patient for when we can't forgive right now. That's part of it. It's paradox. Paradox is in the weaving. So what are our bodies carrying that need new patterns? That's what I want to do. That's the healing that I am currently working on, bringing as an offering. I don't know if it's as Apokalypsis or if it's just as me as a human being, but I am stepping into that possibility of energetic healing, making new patterns to help heal this wounded culture and the ways in which this culture has wounded other cultures. So that is me coming out of the spiritual closet. And if for some folks it's like, that's too much, right on. I'm here if you decide you want to come back. And for folks that also are feeling that or stepping into that spiritual realm, or that more of a relationship, or know that that's important, or you've been in it forever and you're like, finally you're here, Ronan. Wherever you're at, if you gel, if you vibrate with that, then let's be in community, even more. And then we can talk about that stuff more. And also I am learning tarot. And for those of you, I know that some people, especially, I don't know, I'm thinking like people grew up Catholic or something, that maybe that feels scary, or like there could be like devilishness or something. But tarot cards are just this gorgeous artistic way to help us reflect and legit get messages from our well ancestors, or from spirit guides that have been with us since we entered this particular life, this particular 3D realm. And that's part of what I'm honing, is being able to help be that bridge for those messages. So there's the truth, people. And I'm not going to use the word woo anymore, because that was disrespectful, and it hurts the movement towards healing. Okay, unusual episode. Thank you for listening. And as always, I hope y'all are doing well. And if any of y'all want to be my guinea pig for a healing session, let me know, because that's really where I'm at right now, is practicing. Okay, thanks so much. Bye.